Welcome to Chain Reactions, a weekly live stream and podcast from Mice and XYZ, the leading global marketing network. I'm your host, Blake, joined by my co-host, Polina, and join us as each week we explore the chain reactions happening across crypto by interviewing the leaders behind the industry's most impactful companies. We go live on X every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern and release a podcast the following week. Let's get started. All right. I think we're live, folks. How are we doing?
Yeah.
All right.
GM, everyone.
Reka, you're looking nice and rested from vacay. How you feeling? Nice.
Thank
and
you. I feel
yeah,
well, I feel almost baseline. I could say that, but
almost. Okay,
almost.
you're good. That's good.
Which is way better than it was.
Yes.
But yeah, it's been so nice. I've sat in a lot of beautiful gardens in Japan, and
Oh, you went to Japan. Oh,
mm,
I'm jealous.
and I went to a lot of museums and art shows and saw a lot of music. It was very restorative and creativity inducing.
Yes.
You
I like that.
were
And
in Tokyo or Kyoto or where?
Both of those and like 5 other cities. I mostly tried to do small cities because I heard the extra juice about Japan is actually not in the big 3 of Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, although I did see all 3 because you must on your first trip, I think. But I did go to smaller cities. There's one called Kanazawa. It's more craft and fish, which I'm not eating fish, but it was fine. Hiroshima, some art islands, and then Okayama as well, which is also a smaller city. More in the south.
the art islands. I really want to go to those. Were they worth it?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. I gotta go.
How long have you
coming
been
soon.
traveling for? 2 weeks or
2
something?
weeks, yeah. Yeah, 2 weeks.
So it's like 2 or 3 days in each city. It's
Yeah.
intense.
Yes. Well, even less so, because I did some juggling. I wanted to also sit because I wasn't off the whole time. I was working for some of it. And for those days, I wanted to just be in the same place and not have to travel during the day. So in like Kanazawa, which is a smaller one, I stayed for 4 nights because I was working for most of it. And,
Or working from Shinkansen. It's actually pretty comfy there.
Actually, yeah.
Not bad at all.
Okay, I think we're done distributing the links.
Yeah. We reposted, we shared it out. I think the folks are aware. People are starting to trickle in, and they'll come through as we keep jamming. But let's get into it. So I'll kick things off. Welcome, everyone. This is Chain Reactions, your weekly live stream where we talk to awesome people from all around crypto, founders, heads of marketing, CMOs, and everyone in between to talk about some of the coolest projects in crypto. Really exciting because I think today we have the one and only Reka from Boundless to talk all about verifiable compute. And also I want to shout out my co-host here, Polina. But how are we doing today, folks? Yeah.
So good. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah,
and
likewise.
We're with Berries here as well. And Blake
Oh,
has a berry plate.
Today's an extra cozy episode.
You guys are ahead of me. You guys are ahead of me. Not only are you super cozy, but you also have berries. I feel very honored, and all the berries, Boundless berries, and all of verifiable compute is insanely honored and mentioned.
Very honored. Let's go. You're gonna hear a lot of berry puns throughout, and you're gonna see me munching on raspberries as we go throughout. But let's get into this today. So could you kind of introduce yourself, tell the folks a bit about your journey? Because I think and you actually have a really interesting one. I remember we were talking about this a while back, like what you're doing before crypto, how you got into crypto, your journey throughout that, and then how you found your way to Boundless. We always love to understand that journey to kick things off.
Of course. I'll keep it short because I could go crazy long. I'm one of those people who had not a straightforward line to crypto and business and what I'm doing now. I am Reka. I'm Director of Marketing at Boundless, which is a universal zero knowledge protocol, and we're making blockchains internet scale. But how I got here is I'm from Eastern Europe. I'm from Hungary, and I had a full different traditional life. I've been a veterinarian and a sustainability startup founder, and then I got into more digital realms and taught myself marketing through running and creating Instagram accounts and selling digital products. And then doing a little bit of an influencer journey on multiple platforms as well. And in 2020, with COVID, I had a little bit more time and crypto full-timeness happened. I was in crypto before. I got into crypto in 2016 when I was volunteering in Sweden at this meditational retreat place, and my
We
host
love
was
it.
in crypto somehow in 2016.
Out of all the
this
places.
this Buddhist guy in the middle of nature in Sweden was in crypto in 2016. So
Was he like taking payments in
It's like-
Bitcoin? Like, well, how did that
yeah.
happen?
Do
That's
you know
crazy.
what Bitcoin
Yeah.
is?
Oh,
and
really?
he was
Let's
predicting
go.
that Trump was becoming president and how that's going to affect the world economy. He was telling me all of this while I was literally there to
Whoa.
help people meditate and like, you know, I was 18. Come on.
So you met
But
Satoshi is what I'm hearing.
potentially, we'll never know. He never told me. But he was a lovely guy and obviously evoked something in me that I didn't even know about before. This truly is a butterfly moment or a butterfly effect moment, I believe. Like, I have no other explanation for all of this. But anyway, straightforward to 2020, I actually took the leap and started Guild XYZ with my co-founders. And that led me on a more full-time crypto founder journey for a couple of years. With that was a community management project, an access management infrastructure in the back, and a community management tool in the front. So I've been very into community building and growth and how to organically engage audiences and automate a lot of the community functions that you would have or audience segmentation functions that you would have in digital spaces and online communities. And then I got a little bit into DeFi and DeFi automations for like 8 months to a year. And then after that, I really felt like, so all of these are within my thesis of making our lives easier with crypto, because that's why I'm here, literally. That's why I got interested in it. It's an alternative. It's supposed to be much more human-centric and much more in our favors and automate so much of what I don't like doing. Like a lot of the finance stuff I don't like doing and a lot of the other online internet infrastructure things that I didn't even know existed, but I actually needed reform. And so I was looking what else was out there that I got so deeply passionate about. Funny enough, it was zero knowledge infrastructure.
Why?
Yeah, you went deep. You went down the
I
rabbit
went
hole.
deep, and it's so worth it. I found the best team ever. It's a very technical team. I joined Risk Zero last November to basically lead the marketing and launch Boundless protocol. From the Risk Zero tech team, we kind of grew out as a project specifically to take that best zero knowledge that Risk Zero has introduced to the crypto space to a wider audience, make it more accessible, and make it more fitting to the protocol's needs that we're working with.
So let's talk
yeah,
about
I've been
that.
doing this for the last year.
Yeah. So
How do
I mean,
you-
you've been busy. Yeah.
I wonder, how do you explain to your non-crypto friends what are you working on at Boundless? Like in
That's a
1
good way
minute
to
or less,
describe
you know,
it.
like
Yeah.
what Boundless is doing.
That's a really good question, actually. And thanks for allowing me to do that. I explain it depends on who it is too, but I just recently had like a new person I'm co-living with for like a roommate that I have for like a little while, and I needed to explain. He works in AI and has zero idea what zero knowledge technology is, but obviously has some understanding of tech. So that was my like latest. But to my friends as well, basically what I say or something along these lines is that blockchains and cryptography have been extremely useful. However, we are seeing a limit of how much they can do in our everyday lives and with the speed of and complexity that they can conduct transactions. And there's a limit to that complexity that we've reached, basically. And a lot of that is because how the nature of this has been built is we're shoving everything into small little blocks and with very little space on the blockchain. All the computation, all the maths that a computer needs to do to create that is shoved into one block or around it. And it's really not enough and it's very limiting. And zero knowledge technology has been around for like 30, 40 years, mostly in PhD and mathematics circles. And it's a wonderful technology that has so many attributes. What I like to say is most of what it's good for is scaling, interoperability, and privacy. It does all three at once just because of the nature of how it's put together with math. And crypto is blockchains are its first legit use case. So this is the first time ever that the founders of Risk Zero actually have been the first people to recognize this as a zero knowledge virtual machine that can do a lot of complex computations, can actually solve these three problems for crypto basically at once: scaling, interoperability, and privacy. And so what I'm doing, or what Boundless is doing, and we're working on, and how I go about it to say it is we're essentially making sure that all the complex math problems that each computer is doing right now to make blockchains exist on one side and make the internet exist on the other side, they're math with each other. And so we're allowing the blockchains to be able to do much more complex and heavy load computations way faster by creating proofs that store pre-done math problems that they don't need to redo ever again, that they're currently redoing. And they can just check those proofs instead of doing all the computations again on chain, because these proofs live, they're done off chain and then they live on the chain. And they're so much more lightweight, and they contain all information that you need from previous computations and calculations that you might want to check. So it basically allows for way faster interactions on the chain to happen.
So really it's all about, helping every other blockchain that may not be quite as scalable scale better and scale faster, right?
Exactly. It's every chain is currently optimizing to be zero knowledge friendly. And there's a reason for that, is because there's a limit to the code efficiency that we can make with Solidity, with Rust, with all the solutions that we have within the blockchain space. So every chain will be powered by zero knowledge proofs in the very near future. Yes.
Just putting myself in the shoes of your friend also who works in AI, right? And you explain what Boundless is doing. I would be like, so this is a B2B business, right? So because you deal with blockchains and you sell your tech to this blockchain to scale. But at the same time, being in crypto, knowing Boundless, I know how community first you are. And like if you look at your Twitter and everything that you did was kind of more B2C, right? So how does it match then? How do you think about community in that way, and what role does it play?
I mean, my attitude is always community first. I feel like I've learned a lot from the best in other industries and how they do it. For example, Figma and Notion, if you look at them, those teams are extremely community first with how they're designing the product and how they've grown. So I think good marketing, I think I'm an organic marketing specialist, basically, is I don't and so much of that happens, that good growth happens because you think about community first. And so for us, that's mainly a B2B company. Every single sale or partnership deal that you're doing will be supported by how popular you are, basically, and how well respected your project is. So much of crypto is scam. So how you stand out is being legitimate, being a legitimate project. And a lot of that comes from basically your weight and the respect that you have in the industry. And so a lot of that comes from having that presence set. And so I think that's really important generally to have that established even before you're doing practically live business. Plus, we are B2B2C as well. So we do have end customers who are using the applications and the chains that Boundless is powering. It's more of a harder explanation because they ideally won't directly know that all of this is already better, because Boundless is like 2 layers deep in the infrastructure and it's making it better. But we are separate entities. So for those that do care or do know Boundless anyway, they should know about what the impact that we're causing is. And it's just, if you're a B2B company, you have to make sure that your partners know about you and are more excited to work with you, not just because your tech is exceptional, but also because you do have and take a rightful place in the industry and continue to do so. And that also gives more certainty that you won't just disappear. And I think that's really important in an industry like ours where trust is so fragile.
Yeah, I think, well said. Do you remember the state of, because zero knowledge right now is everywhere, like in my opinion, it's like all over the place. And I think that Boundless contributed to that a lot, to pushing this technology forward. So I'm curious if you remember what the state of like zero knowledge when you joined Risk Zero. Like, what was it? Like, did people know about it? What state it was in?
I remember, I don't know if you guys or your audience or who's listening is familiar with Kaito, the social analytics platform, but I was lucky enough to have access to their dashboards very early on. And so even last year, when I was just learning about zero knowledge, they did have that on the landscape of narrative search and seeing the percentages in the landscape based on their analysis where it stands. And it was roughly around 1% of the mind share of the whole crypto Twitter-ish circle that they're analyzing. Currently, it's almost 7. And so that's a metric that I can actually say a number. But generally speaking, it was projects existed, ReZero existed for years at that point, and many other projects that were working in this space kind of have made strides, but I would say most of it was so inaccessible and hard to understand. And even for me, who was sort of learning into that landscape, was not as accessible. And I was very crypto native. And even though I'm not a developer, it was still, I needed to talk to a lot of people personally to be able to understand it deeply. And so it was, what was that for me? A perfectly blue ocean that I can occupy with something that actually explains and makes zero knowledge feel more accessible and just easier to understand the magnitude and where all of that part of the industry is going. And it was a perfect space for us as a team to occupy with Boundless, of being the leader of making that available to the larger crypto industry and support other teams that are doing the same. So I guess that was actually kind of nice that it wasn't as accessible and we could make it so.
There's an opportunity, right? Where everyone's zigging, you got to zag.
Exactly. I
Which
love
actually
zagging.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have done a great zag, I think. Which I'd love to get into, kind of like the whole kind of like brand and the campaign and all the stuff you guys have been doing for the past year. Like, how did that come about? Was it already kind of brewing? Was it something that you came in and you collaborated with the team? Or we'd love to just kind of hear a bit more behind the scenes of, you guys have been cooking on a lot of stuff leading up to, I think, like obviously the TG and the more recent events, and now continuing onwards from that. But yeah, how did that all come about? Yeah.
So for context, for those of you that don't know Boundless, we just did mainnet and TG over a month ago. And we had a mainnet beta phase before that. And before that, we had a testnet. Before that, we had a more private testnet with our early partners that we've been working with. So when I joined it, we were at this stage where that private collaboration to test the early notions of Boundless have been already going on. We already had an account on Twitter, but there were like 3 posts. And so the positioning wasn't set, the vision was, the direction was sort of clear, but the strategy of how we get there wasn't. So I could do my favorite thing, which is come up with all of that with my team. And that's what we did and collaborated on it. I love this problem. This is one of my favorite things to do, is how we put things out and where we put them on the market and how we occupy that space and then grow from there. I love this game. This is great. This is the best part, I think, to do in so
Starting
many of
from
the things.
scratch, because you get to do the strategy, you get to put it all together. It's so much more fun.
It's so much work, but it's like one of the most worthy and rewarding things to do, I think, in this industry. So how we thought about it is obviously need to set the direction first and how big you want to go, which is one of the first questions I kept asking my team of like, guys, like, I need to know how big we want to be, because it really will define how I will position ourselves, or how we're going to set the positioning of the company itself, and how technical we want to stay, how more visionary we want to become. It will define our localization strategies, how we build community, if at all, how we build a global audience, what kind of PR we are going to do. It defines everything. So that was the first part, figuring out the magnitude that we're shooting for. And then I knew we are going to have a TGE. We didn't know exactly when, but I knew it's going to be within the year. So initially it was even less time, but I was more realistic that it isn't going to be less time.
Hey guys, we got to you got to build a community first.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Be real. But I think after that, it just kept rolling based on what we have. And some of it was so straightforward because you just know the steps. For example, we needed to launch a white paper. We needed to have a proper website. We needed to have exceptional documentation, even that early. We needed to launch an actual testnet phase, not just privately, but more publicly. And then there came the decisions of, do we actually want to have more? Because Boundless is not a chain. So we couldn't just have the like farmy or deposit money here kind of testnets, which is the 2 main things you see in crypto. We had to come up with something different that fits us and actually helps test the protocol in some way, shape, or form that benefits the future of the protocol, while also allows us to kind of identify and reward members who technically or otherwise support the project early on, because that's part of the TG that you're planning to do. And you need a bunch of data many, many months before that, and hopefully years. So we built a few community campaigns. I will say, I'm going to be broad and say that we're one of the only projects that made white paper reading go viral.
Yes,
And
we loved it. Yeah,
that
a
was
lot of
really
people were
fun.
talking about it. I remember that was good.
I met a person recently at a conference in Korea, actually, in KBW, who said they read 2 white papers in their life. One was the Bitcoin and the next was ours. And because they found it on
Let's
Twitter.
go.
And I'm like, gee, that is a really high compliment. And I honestly totally
Put
understand.
that on your resume. Yeah.
Because we
Just
made
to
it
zoom
fun.
in, for people who don't know what you actually did with the white paper, if you can just like
Oh, yeah.
3
that's true.
seconds.
So my true nature of launching anything, I can't just make an announcement, I have to make it really complex, very engaging and involving, and something worth sharing is how I like to think about it. And so with the white paper specifically, we decided to build a reader website, which is read.beboundless.xyz, which is really cute. And it has a berry toggle bar that shows your progress, how far you've read, which I also think helps attention span. And our white paper is basically around 10 pages. And we put a comic at the end that explains how the protocol's slashing mechanism works, which I think is a hilarious touch. And I'm so glad we kept that in.
Brilliant.
It was like an internal meme, but at the end I was like, you know what? This fits. We're going to keep this. And it actually was a really good move. But what we did from here is that we had this reader website, and I'm like, how are we making this more interactive? Like, this isn't enough. I don't know who's going to click this and actually read it. Like, come on, people don't read anymore. And so we decided to come up with the proof of read, which was, we have a 10 out of 10 front-end developer. And he's not only front-end, he's in everything. I absolutely owe my entire life to that man.
Shout out to the dev. Yeah.
Shout out, Kohan. Shout out, Dev. And we built the thing where you could highlight a word or a sentence within the white paper reader on the website, and it will generate a unique image for you on the website that you could share on Twitter. And we asked the community and our larger audience to prove that they can read. Because that was a meme at that time as well on the internet. Yeah. So we kind of hopped on that as well.
Reads.
Really? Nobody reads. And that worked really well. And it also allowed us to continue that later into, it caused us, that's what caused us to go viral with the white paper, I believe, the sharing. Yep. And then what counts as viral? I don't know, but it went really well. And then we did a second phase of that, which was proof of thought, which, okay, you proved you can read. Now, can you prove that you actually have thoughts or like you can think? And we asked the audience to, based on the top proof of read concepts that people highlighted, the most frequent ones, to come up with explanations and help educate around the white paper based on those top ones. And so we always think about our campaigns that progress into one another a little bit, and or just, I don't know, a little bit different. Like you have to do something, make it a tiny bit different and be unique and be different. Yeah, stand out.
There was also proof of berry, was there, no? Or something like that. What was that about?
Yes, that was our first thing. That was around Valentine's Day last year, February. That was our first ever bigger campaign. I just came up with the berries around at the end of January, basically. And in 2 or 3 weeks, my team and I finessed a whole campaign around an NFT minting website that we would have a 48-hour NFT mint to mint a berry. Because I wanted to have something that helps me meme the verifiable compute into reality. Because for those of you that don't know, zero knowledge is it already had a reputation, and it was already a little bit alienating and hard to understand, and kind of bucketed into this super technological, I don't even worry about it. If someone says ZK, I don't listen kind of concept. And that's what my friends told me when I joined RISC-0. They're like, I don't know, goes in here, goes out the other way. So I had to find something else. And so verifiable compute is basically a synonym for it, kind of. And I don't know, something clicked in my brain in January, and I was like, you know what? It's verifiable compute. And then
you're just munching on some berries, and it's just that aha moment must have happened, you know?
And something. And my persona online has been a berry for a couple of years. And I thought I'm just going to personally launch like a berry NFT sticker pack and maybe an NFT project just for giggles for me and my friends. And then it kind of grew into the proof of berry NFT campaign for the whole project. And that really kickstarted our community because it went really well. We had 1.5 million mints of these NFTs within 48 hours. We did over 25% of all of base chains traffic in the first 24 hours. So it moved quite a bit of people. And I was like, all right, people seem to like this. Let's keep going. And
they like the berries.
They did like the berries. And so we just never stopped.
At the beginning, I actually thought that Boundless was just your creation because, as you said, like, you were a berry the whole, I don't know, for as long as I've known your sort of Twitter, it was always a berry as a profile picture. So I just thought that it was, the proof of berry was your project alone. And that's how I came around Boundless. Would you say that your, personal brand really helped with this cold start problem and, framing ZK in the beginning as something that's actually worth listening to?
I think so. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think that was hiring me was a really good move for many reasons. One of which is I already had a presence and a reputation, and I do like making things approachable and explain hard things that I understand to everyone else to understand. And I definitely think that helped that I had a personal brand. However, I do have to give a shout out to my team because at first they didn't really get it or understand why I want to bring a berry into such a technical concept and
They're like,
team
"What?"
and project. We were still risk zero then, by the way. So like if that team even had a legacy, they're really serious and insanely smart people who've like built companies before and sold to like so that was kind of a stretch for me to do, but I got so much trust. And I know mostly I'm a berry publicly, but even my team for weeks, they embraced it and they had berry profile pictures that I made for them that looked exactly identical. And it caused a lot of confusion because everyone thought everyone's me. But that was part of the fun of spreading
Spread the
it.
meme.
And and they were really, really lovely. And
did you have any because I know that a lot of marketers who work with very talented tech forward teams face a lot of struggles with actually, moving the needle, miming something because everyone would say, we're a serious project, we have this amazing tech, we can't just be throwing memes around. How do you how did you turn their minds around, or if they were very sort of down for anything to try out, what would your advice be to those people to those marketers who are struggling with the super technical founders?
it was I agree with you, and I know way too many cases when that's the case. When I joined or when I was talking with the team to join or exploring, I was kind of relentless and I talked with the executives, all of them, so many times. And I made 100% sure that they are actually ready to embrace marketing because one of the reputations with Zero from my friends that I heard is they're so good, but they're just not crypto-y and friendly for that kind of presence. And I was like, that was really important to me to have buy-in early of they have made the decision that they're willing to adapt a bit more, which they did. And so that made it easier off the bat. However, there was there was some of the pushback. And my advice, my team's really lovely and I can't ask for a better one. But my advice to the marketers that might not have the amount of attitude that I have and or the kind and open-minded team that I have is you do have to suck it up and pull up your sleeves and roll them up, and you do have to be providing a good enough explanation. And the phrase that people say as a meme of you just do things is you literally just, if you do have conviction in something, you have to stand in it and actually push that through. So a lot of what I've done is I was convicted enough in it that I felt like this is a good middle ground. It's not like I was not going to do a Pepe 4chan degenerate kind of meme approach. That's really far from what we stand for and who I am also as a marketer and as a person. This felt like something that is exact opposite of what Risk Zero's vibe had been before, which is more dark and educational and super tech heavy. This is something light, sweet, cute, and I love contrast. And I thought this is the exact amount. It's imbalanced because it's the exact opposite, but it's not too much. And so I was.
Which, by the way, the branding and like was that already in play, or was that something that you helped push forward when you were talking to them?
We knew 3 things when I joined. Is that we like beige, there's glass, and there will be wind chimes in the sound. That was the like brand seed that I gotten from the team. And then from that, we grew it to whatever it is.
You got
Nice.
the glass trend before the Apple did. So.
Yeah, we
Glass
did.
market.
Yeah, we did.
Early on. That's good.
But yeah, so I just finished the thought of the advice on.
Oh yeah, sorry. Back to you. Advice.
No worries.
Yeah.
So you have to, if you have conviction in something, you literally just have to do it and ask for forgiveness after. Obviously, try to be as, like, don't be rude about it, and be as much forward and explaining and showing why this will work if you can. But they do need to trust you a little bit. And even if they don't, you just have to do it and then show that it did work. And for other help is try to have smaller, like almost A/B test kind of experiment where it's a smaller scale launch for the meme itself, and see the reception to it, especially if you don't have as much conviction, which I did from my personal. And then that was immediate win. And then the Berry NFT was an even bigger win, and then it just kept going, and all of it was just keep being wins. And I was like, fine,
just kept compounding.
And
that's how you
after every win,
Yeah.
I did start to get DMs from engineers and different parts of the team or investors and partners who didn't get it at first. They're like, oh, I get it. Like, it works.
Let's go.
So, and that validation, baby, it's worth all the pushing through.
You're like, see, I told you so. Like, I did.
I do love being right. It's great.
But the fact that you also attribute part of the success to your personal brand, right? And I know you're active in the team. Cashby is very active also on Twitter, sort of to contribute to that, Boundless team ecosystem. But I don't think anyone else from your team is active very much on Twitter. Is that true?
That's not true.
Did you?
That's not true.
No?
No.
Okay.
And they have improved so much. And when I joined, that was truly the case. But since then, leading by example, holding workshops, and then just relentlessly giving them asks, my team has really embraced it, and a lot of them are active. Especially my CEO, Shiv, has really, really stepped it up and is really serious about it. But team-led marketing is super important. And I do agree with you that it's mostly Kashvi and I who are like super visible and active and had previously had that going on anyway. But there's 5-6 people on the team who are very active and are communicating with other partners and one more on technical topics, for example. So maybe that's why you don't see them on the feed as well, because they are more in the product and technical circles.
Yeah.
But they've really picked it up. I'm really proud of them.
That's awesome. So they embrace both the meme and the team-led marketing. It's, the stars have aligned.
I know.
Best case scenario.
I know. There's
awesome.
a reason all of it worked. You need all these components to come together.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing about, I think about it quite a bit, which is just like, I mean, we all know this, but it's like, I feel like it needs to be said, which is at the end of the day, it's like you can have the best product, but, and as marketers, we all know this is like, if you don't know how to communicate it, market it, convey that vision, it's never going to work. But even the marketing, as you're talking about, right? Like, it's not that easy, right? Yeah, as you said, you got to come in, you got to build trust, you got to convince the team, you got to get the team to actually post, there's so many complicated moving pieces that I don't know. I think I just feel like in this industry oftentimes go maybe under recognized, right? Because so many people are just like, yeah, like, can you just get us? I mean, Paulina gets this all the time because she does a lot of social work with us, and it's just like the classic clients just come, it's like, yeah, can you get us like 100,000 followers like tomorrow? And like,
can you turn on marketing with the switch?
Yeah, just turn it on, and you're just like, what? Like,
yeah.
So I just want to like, take a second and be like, let's recognize that, right? And applaud the work that you did, of course, with the team over the past year, because that is a lot of work and orchestration, and probably why you just took a 2-week vacation, right? you got to take some time off. It's a lot.
Yeah, if I were to map out sort of the timeline of, the product and maybe the marketing, like throughout this year, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was proof of berry, which is the NFT mint, right? That was followed by the proof of read of the white paper, proof of thought as an additional sort of pre testnet activation. Then it was the Kaito leaderboard launch. Then the ZK mining incentives, mainnet beta, and signal. Then did I
Yes.
get it right?
Yes.
Nice.
Whoa,
That's
nice.
most of the things. Yeah. Thank you. That's very thorough.
And I'm curious because a lot of the times, like we had a lot of marketers on the podcast, and I think there are a lot of hot takes about InfoFi because InfoFi is everywhere, and you either love it or hate it. I mean, it's a tool that you need to know how to use to your advantage. And what is your opinion on it? And would you recommend using it to teams?
I mean, do you mean using it as an analytics tool, or do you mean using it as an incentive mechanism publicly, or
Incentive
which way?
mechanism to build up a hype towards, let's say, mainnet launch as well.
Sometimes it was a nightmare, or a really long nightmare. But most of the time I would say it's a positive and beneficial thing. And especially that we took the standpoint, I don't like making people feel like we're farming them in any way, shape, or form. I I don't think that's the right value system to go into this with. And I know a lot of projects kind of just throw money at it and then leave it. And that's why I think InfoFi and Kaito has a lot of bad rep because of how lazy it is. And I don't want to, well, I kind of do want to toot our horn a little bit, but we were really intentional of what we actually asked people to do. And we continuously, gosh, we did a lot of this as well, as we continuously gave them things to do that were actually things we wanted to propagate, instead of just letting AI slop like replies fly. And I think for this reason, ours was way more valuable than what I've seen other projects experience. Our community, or the community that comes over from Kaito, actually ended up helping Boundless grow so much and helping our narrative and even our memetics or some of our explanations go far and wide, because we were pretty adamant about what those are, and we kept giving opportunities to show that they are interested in helping that grow, and we gave them things to do, like that is very important to have, is to give people things to do, how to contribute. And even with something as simple as um or as straightforward as a Kaito incentive program, that was something that we did not neglect, and we used it very, very intentionally. Still, it was kind of hard sometimes, and I was like, "Oh my god, my notifications are absolutely cooked. I can't even, I can't even post sometimes without it being a little bit terrifying." But majority of the time, I would recommend, if you're willing to put in a little bit of effort and intention into where all of that attention and energy is going that you get from that platform, then it's a really, really beneficial thing to use.
I think what made it also very useful, and perhaps that Signal was at the core of it, right? And Signal kind of fed into what you're actually trying to propose. So if you can maybe talk a bit about Signal, what it was, so that I don't butcher it accidentally.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
So Signal is basically an industry-wide collaboration we came up with for our mainnet beta, which we kind of jumped over testnet because we did have the private testnet, and then we didn't really find a reason to have a public testnet that way. And instead, we launched a mainnet beta where everything was live in the protocol except proof of verifiable work, our incentive mechanism, and the token itself. So everything else was already live and working. And so again, with the design of that, if I just put that out, it's kind of a nerd snipe and not a lot of people are going to care about it. So it was really important to, how are we going to make this bigger? Because this is truly revolutionary technology. And it's very important to me, not just to do my job well, but why I even work on this is I want the most amount of people to benefit from this technology. And the more it grows, the better it is for the whole ecosystem. And so I truly believe that. It's not just because that's why I joined. It's because I believed that first. And now I'm also obviously benefiting off of working here, but it's a benefit to me. But so Signal came about, And so the technological advancement there is we could prove full Ethereum consensus, which no one's ever done, not even the Ethereum Foundation, which I know sounds pretty technical, which is why I didn't launch it this way. But it's basically that the whole history of Ethereum in one proof. So instead of when you need to ask information from Ethereum, going back and asking it from all the blocks and redoing all the computation, you have the little proof every 6 seconds when a new block is mint. You have the proof that contains everything. And you can just ask that one. And it's way simpler, way faster. You can imagine we can do this for any chain, by the way. And imagine if every single chain, all information you need is stored in single little proofs. You can even merge them. And you could have Solana Ethereum in one proof. And then this is what the proof singularity is that a couple companies have pitched before, that they're working towards this. I didn't want to pitch this for us, but that's the theory, is that you do have these proofs that basically fully support and conclude all the chain's information. And for a lot of applications, this is so much faster and more efficient to just query that little proof. So we built this, and it's massive. This is a huge thing. No one's ever done. It's an
major.
innovation, and it's just our mainnet beta, not even the whole protocol. So I was like, this is big. We need to make this sound as big as it is. And so we had 20 plus partners launch with us that also thought this is really big. And we had insane PR coverage and everything. We named it the Signal, and both the community and some partners have boosted the Signal, which is the name we came up with for it. But essentially, we have pooled almost 300 ETH into a public smart contract that basically automatically goes into the protocol to create these proofs as an open source good forever for anyone who needs these proofs to query Ethereum to use. So we created something that's good for the ecosystem, tests our project, activated hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, actually millions, because we also launched the manifesto. We left that out of the sequence of things. We launched the manifesto, which 4 million people signed on with their wallets. Crazy.
Crazy.
But we did move millions of people with this, and it was also weeks long. We also had a verification phase for this, which allowed people to verify the signal from their browser and kind of contribute in a non-technical way of keeping these proofs going within the signal. During this time, we already had provers participate in this mainnet beta phase on the other side, because Boundless has a marketplace at its core where these zero-knowledge proofs are exchanged. And on one side of it, there's a bunch of GPUs with a lot of provers who are really good at writing and optimizing code to get the best proofs and pick up the most proofs. And on the other side is the demand side, where chains and applications need the proofs and request them. So in mainnet beta, we already had the prover provider side going quite a bit, and also being incentivized so we can test the market. And we had the signal start as the demand side along with our partners to test the protocol.
You literally, I was just about to say word for word.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
and
every campaign you
time,
say, it's like millions of people.
I know. I sometimes think about it. It is quite something. I don't know. Like, I try not to think about it because it gets a little scary if you think about the numbers too long. But this is the first time in my career when even Ethereum and the Ethereum Foundation has endorsed something that I did, and that is and especially that it's about Ethereum. Like, I joined this industry because of Ethereum. Like, that was the most interesting thing to me, not Bitcoin. I was interested in Ethereum and programmability and all the freedom that allowed. And it was a very validating and like peak of my career to like a full circle. And it was really important that we nailed that moment as well from like a business standpoint, because I knew that mainnet's coming up and this is my shot basically before that. So I will not say the amount of hours of work that went into that for me and my team, but it did went well.
Worth it.
But the hard work pays off sometimes, right? And this time it definitely did. And sometimes, as you're saying, you gotta like sit in it, right?
Yeah.
It literally did, because when you guys launched on Kaito Launchpad, it was 70 million plus committed.
You guys are crazy oversubscribed, right?
Which is, so that was literally paid off.
Good problem.
That was the thing that came after the Signal. Is we were one of the first projects to do a community sale in quite recent history. And we decided to do that because that is kind of part of the thesis, isn't it? Like, that was part of how we started to launch crypto projects back in the day. And Analyzing everything that's happened in the last few years, I think massive airdrops have been such a fail for the most part. And we
Yep.
did obviously do some of that as well. And we had rewards announced for specific functions for like the provers. For Kaito specifically, we did have those going anyway. But what we wanted to have is the most aligned audience. And so the foundation has decided, the Boundless Foundation has decided to go with Kaito, and we executed that. And yeah, it was 18 times oversubscribed within a few days, which is also the biggest raise they've done on Kaito. Very
Crazy.
scary. I try not to think about it, but thank you for reminding me. And then the foundation has decided to sell more than what it originally was the goal. So we have quite a bit of circulating supplies of tokens because of that. It was the perfect alignment that the foundation got so much interest from the audience this way, and it just made sense to extend this trust back of giving even more tokens available that soon, because that's a really big risk for a protocol to have that much circulating
100%.
supply available. And so, but I think I'm glad it happened that way. It's I think it's important for the big thesis and our values and whatever, which is so rare in this industry these days, but it's
Keeping
important.
crypto wholesome, keeping crypto innovative. We love it.
Exactly. Yeah. And approachable.
And approachable. That's right. I do want to be mindful of time because I think we only have like 10 minutes, but I want to kind of wrap up this main section because we'll go to rapid fire right after. It's very quick and fun and dirty. Would love to kind of hear more. I mean, not dirty, clean, wholesome, but what I'd love to hear a bit more about is like, now you're past the TG moment. Now you're in mainnet.
Yeah.
Like, what are the big things? Like, what's up next? I guess. Like, what are the big things that you're excited about that people should be thinking about and tuning in for, and continuing to be a part of the community and stay active. Yeah.
There's quite a few things I can't talk about, which is fun.
Okay.
But a lot of it is now the proof is in the pudding, and that's a joke on CK Proofs. But currently we're really focused on migrating partners over to mainnet specifically.
Yep.
And we have been really fortunate to have thousands of provers on the supply side ready and are already proving currently. Teracycles amounts of proofs, which to me sounds just like a big number that my product team keeps saying, and it's we keep breaking the records week after week, basically. So that's one big thing we're focused on. A lot of next year's I can't speak on, but we're working with more and more chains. Basically, okay, big thing is we're making blockchains internet scale. So what we need to do for that is actually deeply work with all the chains that actually are already making themselves zero knowledge dependent. Not dependent, but their growth is dependent on zero knowledge technology. And so we're the most well-positioned and ready technology for that. So we're really, really focused on that right now. For community, for community specifically, we're more planning along the lines of these partnerships and finding middle ground with these partners. There's also an approach we're an ecosystem of ecosystems since we work with so many chains and applications. So really trying to find alignment with the other teams there of how to maximize the benefit.
Combine communities, build, bring everyone together, make everyone happy.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
It's all exciting. So basically stay tuned. You heard it here first. Okay, we should go to rapid fire questions.
Let's go.
How do we want to do it? Pauline, you want to kick it off? Or
yeah, sure. So the first question is most underrated marketing tactic right now in Web3?
I'm going to say just be different. Just be a little bit different. Just 10% different. It will make such a difference.
I like it. Most overrated marketing tactic?
Rage bait.
Yeah. There's a specific blockchain that's been rage baiting a lot the past couple of days. It's been very interesting to watch.
It never works. It works momentarily, but long term it's harmful.
Wait, I saw a tweet about that. It was something like, you're like, just because, like if it's a burning car, everyone's looking at it, but it's a burning car. Like maybe you don't need to do that. You know?
Exactly.
It's one way to think about it.
Which crypto brands or projects are crushing it now? That's not Boundless.
I'm still so in love with Mega ETH. I know people have a lot of opinions on it. I truly admire their designer and the conviction she has on their direction. And I think most things they do, and it's very similar to what we're doing, actually. They're just going to do an echo round as well, public sale. It's been very aligned, and I think they keep killing it. And I'm very, very proud of them and very inspiring.
Brother Bang, shout out. Yeah.
Shout out, Brother
We love
Bang.
Mega ETH. Cool. And then the last one here, this is my favorite one. I tell people all the time, like we've been doing a variation of this podcast live stream for like 3 years now. Every guest that's come through, we've asked this, which is over the past year or so, what's your biggest professional learning as a marketer, as a professional, just in general? Yeah.
That's an insanely good question. I'm glad
Yeah.
this is the last one because I would love to talk about this so much, actually.
You got 5 minutes. You can talk about it as much as you want. Yeah. It's a nice retrospective. Yeah.
I think it's two things, and we talked about both. So this is kind of a summary to what we've talked about in the advice sections of today is you have to have conviction in what you're doing and a little bit of pride within your team that what you're saying and what you're thinking and your beliefs and your convictions are valid. I think I've known that before. I've done my work based on this, but I feel like this year really solidified how much your intuition and your analysis and your learnings that you're doing from the market, if you're doing that, are actually so informative and so helpful to advise you with the most innovative and different strategies that actually result in the things you want it to result in. And the confidence, honestly, like the self-confidence and belief. I think faith is a good word. Faith.
Yeah.
And the other is differentiation and positioning is, I think, one of the most important things that people so neglect in this industry. And I'm more talking to, in case anyone like that is listening to this or get this information gets them, but to teams that just hire a person for social media as like their first marketing hire instead of getting help to figure out where they stand currently and where they want to be and inform strategies based on it. I know it's such a high level CMO-y thingy to say. It really does the most because we didn't have that much capacity. We're a small team. We do have resources, but we are a small team with an insane amount of passion and conviction. But I think a lot of what we've done worked because we were very solid on where we are, who we are, and where we want to go, and where do we want to be represented in the market, and who do we want to be associated with, and the magnitude. The first question that I kept bringing up to my team of knowing how big you want to be. That
you
I'm
want to be
thinking is
boundless.
such a yes. That's also one of the things why we came up with the think bigger. Because I kept saying that to my team of, even with when we just talked about today about announcements or like dropping the white paper or like just posting that now we have proofs for a full Ethereum consensus and finality. I can't just post that. I have to think bigger of how is this becoming bigger. And so, yeah, those two, conviction and differentiation and the positioning is extremely, extremely important. I think that's all why anything that I've done that is mildly successful is because it's what it is.
I mean, I love it. I think it makes so much sense in it. It's like such a beautiful encapsulation of, I think, kind of who you are. And then those are also like one's more like professional in the sense of like, I think as marketers in a very technical industry, we don't always get the ability or even permission, right? So it's kind of like, I'm very much the same boat of like, ask for forgiveness later, right? Like if you can, like don't be a dick about it, but push within reason and you can ask for forgiveness. And then I think the second one around differentiation is such a breath of fresh air because it's exactly that. We get a lot of those requests all the time of just like, come in, do this thing. And we're like, okay, but like, are we just like putting more fuel on a really bad fire here? Like, are we helping this thing or is it just going to get worse? Right. Yeah. So I wish more founders would take that advice. So we'll keep trying. We'll see.
I wish they would. I wish they would for your sake too.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, Polina, anything else? You feel good?
I think we're ready to wrap up.
Okay. Well, I think that's everything. really appreciate having you on, Reka. Always a pleasure chatting. Really, I think it was a really insightful kind of like deep dive into all the cool stuff you've been doing. I hope you feel great and refreshed and recharged and ready to crush it till the end of this year and smash 2026.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for hopping on. And
Thank you so much for having
yeah.
me and letting me speak about my passions and
Always.
what we've been doing. And you guys have been great hosts. And for everyone listening, I hope you got some nuggets of information from this. If nothing, my enthusiasm in all the dooms that's on the social media, at least maybe this is a little more hopeful, hope core.
Let's go.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
There
you.
we go. Thank you so much, Reka. Have a good one, and have a good one all. Ciao, ciao.
We'll see you later. Ciao, ciao.